Emma Parker was an early riser, a disciplined woman who found peace in her morning jogs through Riverside Park. Every day, just before sunrise, she laced up her worn-out Nike shoes, tied her blonde hair into a ponytail, and stepped into the quiet, misty world outside. The park was always empty at that hour, wrapped in a thin veil of fog that shimmered silver under the streetlights. To Emma, it was her sanctuary, a place to breathe, think, and escape from the noise of London life. But that particular morning, something felt different. The air was unusually still, heavy, almost listening. The rhythmic sound of her sneakers hitting the damp ground echoed a little too loudly. As she rounded the corner near the old stone fountain, she noticed it, a faint echo of her footsteps, perfectly matching her pace but just a fraction behind. She slowed. The echo slowed. She stopped. And yet, one last step crunched softly behind her. Emma turned quickly. Nothing. Just fog and empty benches. She chuckled nervously, blaming her imagination, and started jogging again, shaking off the uneasy feeling creeping up her spine. But the pattern continued. Each step she took was mirrored by another, just a heartbeat late. She began to feel watched, not by a person she could see, but by the park itself, as if the fog had eyes. As she approached the bridge, she glanced down at the river below, its surface rippling gently. Then she saw it, a shape moving in the fog behind her. Too tall. Too still. Watching. Her heart pounded. She tried to tell herself it was just a tree, or another jogger, but something deep inside screamed otherwise. For the first time in years, Emma broke her routine. She turned around and ran home without looking back. That was the last morning she ever jogged alone. The next morning, Emma almost convinced herself that yesterday's fear had been silly, just tired nerves and fog playing tricks. But as she stood at her front door, tying her laces, a strange chill passed through her. She hesitated for a moment, staring into the mist-covered park beyond her gate. The silence of dawn felt thicker, heavier, as if waiting. Still, she pushed forward. Her breath came out in small white clouds as she jogged along the narrow path lined with oak trees. The world was quiet, too quiet. No birds. No rustling leaves. Just the soft thud of her shoes on the damp earth. Halfway through her usual route, she stopped to catch her breath near the old fountain. The fog was dense now, rolling like waves through the trees. And then, it came. A whisper. Soft. Close. Right beside her ear. Don't stop. Emma froze. Her eyes darted around. There was no one. The fog seemed alive, shifting and breathing. Her pulse raced as she called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No answer. Only that whisper again, drawn out this time. "Keep running." Emma stumbled back, her breath quick and shallow. The air around her felt colder, pressing against her skin like icy fingers. She turned to run, but the path ahead had vanished into the fog. It was as if the park had rearranged itself. From the corner of her eye, a shadow flickered, small, fast, like a child darting between trees. Then came a faint giggle. High-pitched. Innocent, yet utterly wrong. She spun around, heart hammering, shouting into the mist, "Who's there?" No reply. Just silence. And then slowly the whisper returned, this time from every direction at once. "You shouldn't have come back." Emma's scream echoed through the fog, swallowed before it reached the road. That morning, the park swallowed more than her footsteps. It took her peace. By the third morning, Emma knew something was wrong with Riverside Park, yet curiosity and pride dragged her back. She needed to prove to herself that the whispers, the echoes, the shadow she'd seen weren't real. The park couldn't be haunted. It was just a place. Just trees, paths, and fog. The air was colder that day, biting against her cheeks. The fog, thicker than before, clung low to the ground. As she ran along the trail, her earbuds crackled with static before going completely silent. Even the soft thuds of her running shoes seemed muffled, swallowed by the mist. That's when she saw him.
A man sitting alone on a park bench under the broken street lamp.
His clothes were old, Too old, a dark wool coat and a flat cap like something from the 1940s. His hands rested on his knees. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Just sat there, his head tilted slightly downward. Emma slowed her jog, unsure if she should say something. Maybe he was homeless. Maybe hurt. She took a cautious step closer. The man's head began to turn, painfully slow, the sound of bones cracking with each movement. His chin twisted first, then his neck, then his entire face, revealing pale skin and wide glassy eyes that locked directly on hers. Emma froze. He smiled, a thin, unnatural stretch of lips that didn't reach his eyes. Her heart exploded with fear. She spun and sprinted, her breathing ragged, the fog closing in around her. Behind her, she heard it, a second pair of footsteps. Fast. Heavy. She didn't dare look back. The footsteps matched her pace perfectly, closing the distance. And then, the man's voice echoed faintly through the mist, calm, distant, and chilling.
You came back. I've been waiting.
That was the moment Emma realized. She wasn't jogging through the park anymore. The park was leading her somewhere. Emma didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the house, every gust of wind outside made her jolt awake. Her dreams replayed that man's cracked neck and those hollow eyes over and over. By sunrise, she decided, she'd record her next jog. If something was really there, she'd have proof. With her phone in hand, she started her run. The air was biting cold. Fog rolled like smoke between the trees, curling around her legs as she moved. The streetlights blinked one by one, as though the park itself knew she'd returned. Her phone camera trembled slightly as she filmed the path ahead. But when she looked at the screen, her heart skipped. Behind her reflection on the front camera, a faint figure. Running.
Emma spun around.
Nothing.
Just silence and fog.
She started running faster. Then her phone vibrated violently in her hand. No service. The signal bar vanished completely.
GPS arrow spinning endlessly.
Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. A message appeared.
Unknown number, turn around.
Emma froze mid-step, staring at the message in disbelief. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. She typed back with shaking fingers. Who is this? No response.
Another vibration.
Almost there. Her throat tightened. She dropped the phone, hearing the soft crack of glass as it hit the wet path. The fog shifted, parting slightly to reveal the same bench in the distance, empty. But she could feel someone standing behind her. A cold breath brushed the back of her neck. She bolted, sprinting toward the park exit, but the trail seemed endless. No matter how far she ran, the trees didn't change. Her phone lay forgotten behind her, screen flickering, camera still recording. In the final seconds of the video, a shadowed figure appeared, stepping into frame, and whispered, "You shouldn't have looked." By the fifth morning, Emma's fear had turned into obsession. She couldn't stay away. Every sleepless night replayed the message, "Turn around." She needed answers, needed to know who or what was haunting her. This time, she told herself she'd follow the park's path to the very end. The fog was heavier than ever, muffling the sound of her breath and footsteps. The park seemed endless, almost alive, each turn leading deeper instead of out. The air smelled of wet earth and something faintly metallic, like rust or blood. Eventually, she reached an area she'd never seen before, a still pond hidden behind a curtain of ivy. The surface was glassy, unnaturally smooth, reflecting the dim glow of the streetlights perfectly. The locals once called it the Mirror Pond, but Emma didn't know that. Curiosity pulled her closer. She leaned over the water, her reflection clear but wrong. Her mirrored self blinked before she did. Its lips curved into a small, deliberate smile. Emma stumbled back, gasping. But the reflection didn't mimic her movement. It stood still, smiling wider, as a ripple spread across the surface. The air grew colder, and the reflection lifted its hand slowly. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The reflection's hand pressed against the underside of the water surface, and then something real touched her wrist from below. She screamed, jerking back, but a pale hand shot out of the pond, gripping her tightly. Its fingers were icy, inhumanly strong, pulling her down as water splashed violently. Her last cry echoed through the park before silence returned. The pond's surface smoothed again, calm, still, like glass. When morning came, joggers found Emma's phone near the pond's edge, screen cracked, camera still recording. In the final frame, her reflection was still smiling, even though Emma was gone. By the next morning, Riverside Park was quiet again, too quiet. The fog lingered longer than usual, coiling low over the pond like a heavy ghost refusing to leave. Birds didn't sing. Even the wind seemed hesitant to pass through. Just after sunrise, an elderly man named Harold took his usual walk, his old Labrador padding beside him. He followed the familiar route, the winding path, the benches, the fountain. But when he neared the pond, the dog stopped dead, growling low, hackles raised. "Easy, boy," Harold murmured, tugging at the leash. But then he saw it, a pair of women's running shoes sitting neatly by the pond's edge. Fresh mud clung to their soles. Next to them, a phone half buried in the wet ground blinked weakly, its cracked screen frozen on a video frame, a reflection smiling back. Harold frowned, looking around. "Hello? Anyone here?" His voice seemed to vanish into the fog. The dog whimpered, staring fixedly at the water. The pond's surface rippled once. Then again. Tiny circles spreading outward, as if something beneath had just moved. He took a hesitant step closer. The water was so still, he could see his own reflection, and something else behind him. A faint shape. A woman's outline, standing too close, her face obscured. Harold spun around. No one. The fog thickened instantly, swallowing the path. He grabbed the phone and shoes and left as fast as his legs allowed. Later he told the police about the eerie quiet, the reflection, and the handprint he swore he saw forming on the water's surface, small, pale, and human. By noon, the area was sealed off. Officers searched, but there were no footprints, no signs of struggle, only those shoes and the fading handprint that shimmered briefly before dissolving back into the pond. That's when the headlines began calling her the vanishing jogger of Riverside Park. Weeks passed, and Emma Parker's disappearance became a quiet obsession for the town. Her story spread from one street to another, twisting through gossip, whispers, and news headlines until it turned into something more, a legend. The Riverside Jogger. The one who never came home. Police combed every inch of the park, dredged the pond, and found nothing, no body, no sign of struggle. Her phone footage went viral online, a shaky view of fog, faint footsteps, and a whisper caught on the final seconds of audio. The voice was soft, almost pleading, "Run with me." After that, people stopped jogging at dawn. The park grew eerily empty. But every so often, someone brave or foolish would test the legend. They'd go alone, just before sunrise. And some swore that when the fog was thick enough, you could hear it, two sets of footsteps instead of one. A light patter behind you, always perfectly in rhythm. Others claimed to have seen a woman in running clothes standing near the pond, her back turned, long hair dripping as if she'd just climbed out of the water. If you called out, she'd slowly turn, but her face wouldn't match the stories. It would look exactly like yours. Local police dismissed the reports, calling them urban myth hysteria. But the park rangers knew better. They found footprints that began halfway down the trail, never starting from the gate, never leading away. Eventually, the council installed a sign at the entrance. Warning: do not jog alone at dawn. Still, every foggy morning, someone hears it, a faint, distant whisper carried through the mist. Don't stop. And if you listen closely enough, another voice answers back, softly echoing through the trees. Run with me. Because Emma Parker never truly left Riverside Park, she's still waiting for someone to finish the run.